Welcome everyone to our channel. Today we embark on an extraordinary journey into the past. A journey that will take us through snow-clad Russian landscapes, grand palaces, and the corridors of power. We will traverse through time into the reign of a man who was larger than life, a man who dared to dream and dared to make those dreams reality. Today we dive into the epic reign of Tsar Peter the Great, a story of transformation, of revolution, and of a man who single-handedly dragged his country into the modern era. So buckle up, history enthusiasts. It's time to delve into the life, the struggles, and the legacy of one of history's most enigmatic rulers. Stay tuned as we unfold the tale of a Tsar who was truly great. Ever pondered on how a single man could transform a country from a medieval state to a modern empire? Let us take you back to the reign of Tsar Peter the Great. Born in the winter of 1672, Peter Alexeyevich Romanov was not originally destined to rule. The youngest son of Tsar Alexis by his second wife Peter was the 14th child of his father and far from the line of succession. Yet fate, as it often does, had other plans. 10 years into his life, Peter found himself thrust onto the throne as a co-Tsar with his half-brother, Ivan. The Russia he inherited was far from the empire we know today. It was a land steeped in medieval traditions and isolated from the innovations of Western Europe. Yet it was a kingdom on the brink of change that would come in the form of a 10-year-old boy Tsar, yet his early reign was far from smooth sailing. The ship of state was rocked by political turmoil and power struggles. His half-sister Sophia held the true power as regent, ruling from behind the scenes. It was a period of uncertainty, of shifting alliances and silent battles fought in the shadowy corridors of the Kremlin. But even in these early years, the seeds of greatness were being sown. Young Peter was not just a pawn in the Game of Thrones, he was a player. He was learning, observing, internalizing the lessons that would serve him well in the years to come. He was witnessing firsthand the limitations of his kingdom, the need for change, the urgency of modernization, and he was preparing himself for the task. So began the journey of a man who would come to be known as Peter the Great, a ruler whose influence would extend far beyond his mortal life, forever shaping the destiny of a nation. A tumultuous beginning indeed, but it was only the prologue to a reign that would reshape Russia. Imagine a Tsar disguised as a common man traveling across Europe. That's precisely what Peter did during the Great Embassy. Embarking on an ambitious journey in 1697, Peter traded his royal robes for a commoner's attire and ventured far from his homeland. He was a man on a mission, a Tsar with a thirst for knowledge. The Great Embassy was no ordinary diplomatic mission. It was an 18-month journey that saw Peter exploring the length and breadth of Europe. Under the pseudonym Peter Mikhailov, he sought to learn about Western culture, technology, and shipbuilding. This was a Tsar who was not content with merely ruling his land. He wanted to transform it. From the intricate mechanisms of Dutch windmills to the grandeur of British naval fleets, Peter absorbed it all. He was particularly fascinated by shipbuilding. In Holland, he worked as a ship's carpenter, learning the trade from the ground up. This hands-on experience would later prove invaluable in his vision to build a Russian navy. In England, he studied the latest advancements in technology and was captivated by the intellectual vigor of the Enlightenment. He met with prominent figures of the time, from scientists to philosophers, soaking up their ideas like a sponge. Back in Russia, Peter applied what he'd learned. But this was not merely about copying the West, it was about adapting those ideas to suit the unique needs and circumstances of his country. He wanted to bridge the gap between Russia and the West to bring his nation into the modern world. This journey was more than a grand tour. It was a quest for knowledge that would steer the course of Russia's future. His experiences during the Great Embassy fueled his determination to modernize Russia, setting in motion a series of reforms that would forever change the face of the Russian Empire. The seeds sown during those 18 months would grow into a legacy that still resonates today. For Peter, the Great Embassy was a stepping stone towards his vision of a new Russia. Returning home, Peter was a man on a mission to modernize Russia. He had seen the future, and it was dressed in the trappings of the West. With an unwavering resolve, Peter set about dragging Russia, often kicking and screaming, into the modern age. Peter's first target was the Russian army. He recognized that to compete with the West, he would need a military force to match. He replaced the outdated streltsy, the traditional Russian military corps, with a modern army modeled on European lines. He introduced rigorous training methods and modern weaponry, transforming a ragtag group of soldiers into a formidable fighting force. Next, Peter turned his attention to the administrative divisions of Russia. He replaced the outdated and inefficient system of regional landowners with a centralized bureaucracy. He divided the country into provinces, each governed by an appointed official, and established a clear chain of command. This not only streamlined the administration, but also consolidated Peter's power. Perhaps the most visible of Peter's reforms was the introduction of Western-style dress codes. He ordered Russian men to shave their beards and adopt European clothing styles. This was more than a fashion statement, it was a symbolic break with Russia's past and a clear sign of Peter's commitment to modernization. But not everyone was thrilled with Peter's reforms. He faced significant resistance, particularly from the conservative Orthodox Church and the traditional Russian nobility. Yet Peter was not deterred. He dealt with opposition ruthlessly, crushing revolts and even executing dissenters. He was determined to see his vision for a modern Russia realized, no matter the cost. Unpopular among the traditionalists, yet Peter's reforms were the first steps towards a new Russia. His radical changes laid the groundwork for the Russia we know today, a global power that straddles East and West. Peter the Great indeed lived up to his moniker, for he was the architect of modern Russia. A city built from scratch, a testament to Peter's vision. Welcome to St. Petersburg. In the early 18th century, the swamplands of the Neva River held no promise, yet it was here that Tsar Peter the Great envisioned a city that would serve as Russia's window to the West. An ambitious project indeed, but one that Peter was determined to see through. The construction of St. Petersburg was no small feat. It required immense manpower, resources, and relentless determination. Thousands of serfs, soldiers, and prisoners were employed, working tirelessly in harsh and often fatal conditions. The city rose from the marshes, brick by brick, building by building, canal by canal. Despite the enormous human cost and the challenging natural environment, the city began to take shape. Strategically situated on the Neva River, St. Petersburg was designed to connect Russia to the rest of Europe, both geographically and culturally. It was not merely a city, but a statement, a symbol of Peter's desire to modernize Russia. Its unique location allowed the Russian Navy easy access to the Baltic Sea, strengthening Russia's maritime power. Yet St. Petersburg was more than just a strategic marvel. It was, and still is, an architectural masterpiece. Peter brought in the best European architects and engineers of his time to design the city. The result was a stunning fusion of Russian and European styles, a cityscape adorned with grand palaces, ornate cathedrals, and intricate bridges. The city's crowning glory, the Winter Palace, served as the royal residence and is now home to the world-renowned Hermitage Museum. In 1712, just 10 years after the first stone was laid, St. Petersburg became the capital of Russia. It remained so for over 2 centuries, symbolizing Russia's shift towards the West under Peter's reign. St. Petersburg, a symbol of Peter's ambition, stands as a testament to his transformative reign. From the marshy foundations of St. Petersburg to the transformation of an entire nation, Peter's reign was not without its challenges and triumphs. The journey was fraught with obstacles. The construction of St. Petersburg, for instance, was met with a host of difficulties. The marshy terrain and harsh climate posed significant challenges to building a city from scratch. Despite these hurdles, Peter's determination never wavered. He pushed forward with his ambitious project, overseeing every detail with an iron hand. The human cost was immense, with thousands of workers succumbing to the harsh conditions. Yet Peter's unyielding resolve saw the city rise from the marshes, a testament to his indomitable spirit. The triumph of St. Petersburg, however, was just one facet of Peter's transformative reign. He was a ruler who sought to revolutionize Russia in every aspect. From modernizing the military and building a formidable navy to reforming the social structure, Peter's reign was marked by radical changes. He introduced Western dress codes, encouraged education, and even altered the calendar to align with the West. These changes were met with resistance and often sparked controversy, but Peter was undeterred. His vision was to transform Russia into a modern European power, and he was willing to face any challenge to achieve this goal. The triumphs of his reign were many, but none more so than the transformation of Russia itself. Under Peter's rule, Russia emerged as a significant player on the global stage, a legacy that continues to shape the nation even today. The challenges and triumphs of Peter's reign serve as a poignant reminder of his indomitable spirit and his unwavering vision for a modern Russia. Peter the Great, a name that resonates through the annals of history, but what legacy did he leave behind? This colossal figure, who once led Russia with an iron fist, left an indelible mark that continues to shape the nation even today. Peter's reign, which spanned from 1682 until his death in 1725, was a time of significant change for Russia. Like a master sculptor, he chiseled away at the rough edges of the nation, shaping it into a formidable European power. His reforms, both military and social, were not merely changes, but radical transformations that thrust Russia onto the world stage. In the wake of Peter's death, his successors were left with the daunting task of maintaining the momentum of his reforms. Despite the challenges, they managed to continue his work, further consolidating Russia's position as a significant European entity. It was as if Peter's indomitable spirit continued to guide the nation even from beyond the grave. His greatest legacy, perhaps, is the city of St. Petersburg. Crafted with painstaking precision, it stands as a testament to Peter's vision of a modern Russia. Its majestic buildings, stunning architecture, and the Neva River flowing through it all mirror the grandeur that Peter envisioned for his empire. Peter's influence was not limited to the boundaries of Russia. His innovative naval strategies and military reforms were adopted by European powers, and his diplomatic acumen helped shape the geopolitical landscape of the time. Peter the Great, a man larger than life, a Tsar who dared to dream, and in doing so forever changed the course of Russian history. His legacy lives on, not just in the heart of Russia, but in the annals of world history. And as we delve deeper into the past, we can't help but marvel at the extraordinary life of this remarkable man. His story, like the city he built, stands tall, reminding us of a time when one man's vision could change the course of a nation.